Thank you, Taylor. So our next event will be prose, and again, just to remind ourselves, this is where students will select scenes from a short story, where we're going to write down the important message and memorize and embody a character from that story. To introduce our next competitor, Aaron Rodriguez is pursuing a 4-year degree in communication and wants to transfer to a 4-year institution. I think I just said that. Recently, he won first place in cultural artifact at the PSCFA Cool-Off.
I need to tag one of the cars with something from the bucket trip. Put a giant black TV on the side of a Cadillac. One more letter, and I'll have TBT. I'll leave my mark from the bucket trip. But nothing comes out. Can is it's out of paint. It seems as though I have unfinished business. It's not a good feeling. And I promised myself one thing. Nothing else will be left unresolved. Dear Mom, words have been spilling out of me for the past 3 weeks. Now as we end this journey, I don't know how to say what I've always wanted to say. John Van Winkle, age 27. In one hand losing his father, and the other about to lose his mother. It seems as though the sands of time are slipping through John Van Winkle's fingers as he tries to grasp every last fleeting moment right before his eyes. Although the story seems almost fictional, it is very true to John Van Winkle and thousands of families around the world. And so we ask, what may be the portrayer of such a tragedy? Well, in the words of Mr. Lou Gehrig himself, I may have been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for. The Bucket Trip by John Van Winkle. I knew something was wrong when she was calling me. It isn't that we don't talk, it's just, it's usually through back and forth texting. Now she was calling, and I knew it was going to be devastating news. I felt like I was going to puke. The night my father died 7 years ago, she held me in her arms and she said she wouldn't leave me. She wasn't going anywhere. I couldn't hear her very well, thanks to the poor connection of AT&T. But that gut-wrenching moment when she says, well, at least you get to say goodbye to me. I just wanted the earth to swallow me up right then and there. Now she's telling me she has a year to live. So I take the next month off of work. And so here we are on the road trip of a lifetime, racing on whatever eternal clock that this disease is operating on. Each night, I'll let you know what happens the night before. And by going on this journey, it'll give me something to remember. Well, something to help me remember. We were passing the bloated corpse of Lake Dolores when I hear a story about how my stepfather Jack and my mom ended up together. Have you ever heard the stories of your mother going on the road trips as a child? I pulled out my earbud. No, I haven't.
Oh, well, have you heard of the road trips that me and your mother took?
I pulled out my other earbud. No.
Well, tell them what the road trips were like growing up.
So she gathers herself up and she tells the story. Well, your grandfather and I would gather us up in one car and we would drive and drive. And when we'd see something in the road, we'd say, well, I wonder what that is. Can we go see what that is? Your grandfather would say no. And when I would see a road diverting in another direction, I would say, I wonder where that road leads to. Can we go see where it goes? Of course, your grandfather once more would say that no, and we would reach our plane destination with plain bologna sandwiches. But on our first road trip with Jack, we drove and I saw that same road, and I wondered where that road would lead to. He immediately changed course. That's the way we like to explore the country. And that's why I won't be able to tell you where we'll be headed or even where we'll be going on this bucket trip. We're packing packing up and getting ready to leave Beaver, Utah, when I walked by one of the hotel staff. Good morning.
Your mother?
Yes, it's my mom. Now he says something I don't quite catch. But then he puts his hand on my shoulder. And I remember that I am not alone. These are the moments. I was just going through my list of things I could have possibly have done wrong in my life. Why was the manager of Chili's pulling me away from my mom and Jack? So he takes me to this tiny booth, and he says,
John, it's really nice to meet you. My name is Mac, and I'm the manager of this Chili's.
His friends have to call him Big Mac.
You see, John, we think it's pretty amazing what you're doing for your mother today.
Well, thank you.
One of your friends thinks it's pretty amazing too, and he's got to let you know that dinner's on them.
Really? But who did this?
Now, John, your friend requested to remain anonymous. And I'm going to keep that promise. Just enjoy your stay at Chili's and come back anytime.
Confused and dumbfounded as I was, I returned to the table, and the kids, they want to know what's going on, and I tell them. And my mom, she smiles at me. She tells me that I'm really glad you have friends that care about you. So to the person who did this, I wanted to thank you. If it would have happened in a movie, it would just be labeled as bullshit and left aside, but you instantly brightened the darkest moment of my trip. So truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I'm off to Claudette's, and when I get there, everyone's in the front room. My mom's sitting up comfortably for the first time on a recliner. There's a Cardinals game on the TV that everyone's half watching. And for now, there's no bucket trip. No Lou Gehrig's disease, just our family hanging out. Day 21. Casa Grande, Arizona to Santee, California. Daily distance, 333 miles. Bucket trip total distance, 4,063 miles. Before I know it, it's over. I thought we'd have one more day on this trip. You see, Santee was only 5 hours away, and that would have been just the right amount of driving we'd done in a day. But my mom, she wanted to be home. I can understand that. So for now, we ride in silence. A smile that stretches across my face for no one. Most of all, I want you to know how sorry I am that this happened. And I just want to let you know that you won't be doing this alone. When you and Jack got married, I was upset with you. And it wasn't because of that I was upset. It's because I wanted to be the man to walk you down the aisle. In hindsight, I can see why you made the decision that you did. Something that the 17-year-old me will never understand. I hope you can forgive that kid. But I want to thank you to help my own kids. I will make sure that they never forget the love that you had for them. But Mother, thank you for letting me go on this